Hi, this is Tom. Welcome to Pursuing the Muse, a podcast about songwriting. This week I'll be talking to Terry Anderson. Terry is a drummer, singer, and songwriter from North Carolina. He has been in bands like the Fabulous Knobs, the Woods, the Woodpeckers, and the Yahoos. He also fronts his own outfit, Terry Anderson and the Olympic Ass-Kicking Team. He's done time as a songwriter in Nashville, writing for the likes of Etta James and Jody Messina. He's also written songs that were hits for artists like the Georgia Satellites with Battleship Chains, as well as Dan Baird's solo hit, I Love You, Period. Terry has a wealth of songwriting experience to share, so let's get right into it. All right, Tom Compton back with you. We have Terry Anderson today.
Hey.
Joining us on Pursuing the Muse. And Terry, to get started, tell me a little bit about how you got started writing songs and your background.
Well, I started writing when I was like 15 years old. And I wrote some song about some buffalo or something like that. And so, I don't know. I just kept...
It's a caper.
I just kept going and kept trying to make something make sense. And so I've been writing since I was like 15 years old. So I've just been trying to write the perfect song. So that's all I do.
You feel like you're getting closer?
Well, I think about it like 23 hours a day, and I'm always thinking about a song. And so, I'm clicking, my mind's just clicking and going through whatever somebody says, and I'll pick something out, and then I'll maybe turn it around, and then next thing you know, it turns into a song. So, but I got on a hot streak earlier this year. I wrote about 25 songs the first 3 or 4 months of the year. And so that's what we've been working on lately. So I've got 10 that we're going to put out at probably towards the end of December, and then probably 10 more in March, and maybe 10 more in July, something like that. So, but I started just writing stupid stuff, and that's what I've been doing since.
You gotta keep yourself occupied, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've heard some of the new songs. As of the time we're talking, the record is not out yet,
Mm-hmm.
but they're a lot of fun, a lot of high energy, and I think it's the kind of stuff the world needs with how depressing it can be with politics. And
Yeah, I'm hoping. I try to keep my mind off politics, but invariably I go there, and 2 hours a day I'm looking at TV and like glad I don't have a gun. So
you should do one of those Elvis moves.
Yeah. So
I think that's why he had 3 TVs on that one wall.
Right,
So
right.
if he shot one, he wasn't out.
Right. Well, I could shoot these TVs. They're not worth much anymore. So
At the CRTs.
Say what?
You got the cathode ray tube.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I'd miss them. Actually, I spent most of the day outside today and it was cold, but took my doggy out and we went for a little run and then went and hit a few golf balls with my son, my older son. And so we, I spent most of the day outside. So
Do you get song ideas when you're outside?
I do.
What do you do to capture them? Do you hope they'll still be there later, or do you do a voice recorder or something?
I just voice record on my phone. Yeah. So, and that's where Dilapidated Heart came from. I was just walking around. My neighbor across the street has like this giant farm. He's got like probably, I don't know, 800 acres or something like that. And so we just walk around the perimeter of that, me and my dog, and I let him run off leash. And so I just run ideas around in my head, and that's where Dilapidated came from. So because there was a dilapidated house on the property, and so I was like, dilapidated is a cool word.
That is a cool word.
So do something with that. Okay, Dilapidated Heart. Okay, how about that? So that's kind of how it works.
Okay. And you get like the hook, right?
Yeah.
Is that, and then what kind of process is it to flesh that out? Is it hoping on inspiration or is it more perspiration?
It's hoping on inspiration. I try to make it work towards, what I'm talking about. I try to make it all make sense. So I just like that one. I talk about the house that I'm living in, and then I talk about the car that I'm driving around in, and then I just talk about, my heart is kind of the same way. It's just all dilapidated too, so it's just kind of like that. So
nice. And then, when the concept is coming to you, do you have the melody going in your head as well?
Yeah. So I mean, I never know, but sometimes it takes a guitar to get the melody out. But that one I was just singing along, as I was walking around, and that melody just came straight out. I never know, It's it's melody first or words first. I never know. So
Do you ever have like a riff first kind of thing, or?
In some cases I do. Yeah. My bandana, which is on the new record, it started, and I had, this whole record I wrote with different tunings. I just took my guitar and just tuned that way, that way, that way, that way. But I ended up on a real note, And so like, hold on, like this. Like this guitar is just that don't make no sense. That's not a real tuning. So I tuned that. I made it worse.
You're going 12-tone music.
And one of my favorite things is tuning two strings together the same. So yeah, I just tuned the guitar in some wacky tuning, and then I just go with that.
So that was just off the cuff there, or were you repeating something that you had worked out already?
I have a song that goes like that, but we haven't recorded it. So it's just a new song.
Okay.
It's kind of a bluesy thing, of course. I mean, but yeah, we haven't recorded that one, but it's there.
Does it have a name yet?
Let me see. That was called "Late for Work."
There you go.
Yeah. Well,
that's very cool. Like, it's kind of like that moment on the Beatles documentary Get Back, where we get to watch Paul McCartney hammer out Get Back.
Right. I love that so much. But yeah, that's about late for work, because you're with your girl and you don't want to leave and you're going to be late for work, and it's kind of that thing. So
I hear you.
Yeah.
Very cool. So now, going back to you're 15 years old, you're writing songs. When did you feel confident to start sharing them with other people?
Well, this guy is basically my brother, David Enlow. He was in the Fabulous Knobs and the Woods with me, and we were going to the same high school. We were born the same day, 6 hours apart, and so we were kind of inseparable. And so me and him wrote after that. I mean, in high school we wrote songs, and so we moved to Southern Pines and started going to college there, Sand Hills Community College, and we started a band called the Fabulous Knobs, and we packed the place anywhere we played. And there was one place in particular we played in Raleigh called the Pier, and it had about 600 people, and we packed it every time we played there. And we played weekends, and we wrote like half the songs we wrote, and the other half was like Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin. We had a girl singer, and so, and she was pretty dynamic. She was pretty ballsy, and she was great.
That was Deborah DeMilo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where it kind of took off around the Knobs days, around 78 to 84. So
nice.
Yeah.
And were there record companies snooping around at that point?
Yeah, they were. And then we'd play, and they'd go, "Oh, no, that's a little scary to me," because we didn't give a shit. We just played and had fun, and just, we just didn't care about, we weren't trying to be popular, and that's what everybody loved about us. But record companies didn't get that. So they right on us. And then we did and then once Deborah left, we started the Woods, which is me and Jack and David. And then we went out to Nashville and did some recording out there, and RCA was looking at us, and then they passed, and then we just kept making music. So whatever.
Now, did you co-write with David, or were you both bringing your own stuff?
Kind of both. Yeah, we both wrote. So I would write a song and he'd write a song, and then we'd write one together, and So we lived together in Southern Pines, and so we wrote together when we were going to school. So
When you wrote together, would one of you do music and the other lyrics, or switch back and forth, or?
yeah, it was kind of like just throwing it up in the air and seeing what stuck. It was like I'd have a lick, or I'd have a idea. Then David, him being the consummate guitar player, he was just a really good guitar player, and so but he'd take off on it, and that was always fun because he would always turn it into something. But I play guitar a little better than I did back then.
Well, you were full-time drums back then, right?
Yeah.
Is that the instrument you learned to play at first?
Yeah, I played drums from 12 years old until today. So I played with my dad's band. My dad's.
Were you able to sing with your dad's band?
No, but I went to this bluegrass festival, and I stood up on a stool, and I did with a belt, on Mule Skinner blues. So I did this whole thing, out in front of I think it was 1,500 people there, and I was standing on this little stool, and I went. That's what I did. That was my first gig.
And did you find you liked the spotlight? Was that encouraging for you?
I was scared, actually. I almost fell off the little stool. My dad caught me, and but that was all. That's all I know about it. That's all I can remember anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it almost sounds terrifying to me.
It was terrifying, out in front of 1,500 people, and you're up on this little stool, and you're whistling and flapping a belt together,
But I guess if you can survive that.
Yeah. Yep. So that's where I went.
So I remember once talking to you about how you spent a time in Nashville as a music writer. Is that the case, or is that just when you were there with David?
No. I was a writer for BMG for 2 or 3 years. I'd go out there a week out of every month and write with different people. That's where Etta James and Jody Messina. That's where all those things came from. Where I got covers from those people. So,
what are some of those song names?
You want to make something of it?
Yeah, I do.
That's what it is. Jody Messina. You want to make something of it, and I can give you everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Etta James did that.
Yeah, you brought that back with the Yahoos.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's fun. It's always fun.
Okay, so how long were the Woods together?
6 years.
Okay.
It seems like every band that I have has been together for 6 years, and so the Knobs were together for 6 years, and then the Woods together for 6 years, and then the Oak Team came along, and then we've been together forever. So I think 20, 25 years even. So when did the
Oak Team start? 2005?
Or I think it was earlier than that, like 2000.
2000? Okay.
Yeah.
So what was going on between when, if I'm doing my math right, the decade of the 90s would be bandless?
Yeah, that's when I did You Don't Like Me, And that was what, 96? And then 97 or 98, I did What Else Can Go Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then around 2000, oh no, it was 2001, is I'll Drink to That. And that was actually on a label. What was that label? Not Lame. Not Lame is the name of the label. Yeah. They were out of Colorado, but they put it out. So, but I've had it remastered to put out on LP. I'll Drink to That. So
nice.
at some point, I'll get it together and put that.
Keep your eyes on that Bandcamp page.
Yeah, exactly. And so around, I think 2001 was the Olympic ass kicking team. So, and that's when that started.
And then, what album is Thunderbird on?
It's on that record. It's on the Olympic ass kicking team record.
Okay, because when I found you around 2001 when you were doing Yehu stuff, and I think I finally saw you live around the time you were doing Thunderbird, and that was like
Fitzgerald's.
It's hard to.
I think I remember seeing you at Fitzgerald.
Yes, you did a double bill with Sarah Borges.
Yep.
At Fitzgerald's.
Yeah.
And that, but I've seen anytime you're within a certain radius, I go out of my way. Like I went 5 hours to Wapakoneta to see you.
And you didn't get kicked out?
Did who get kicked out?
You didn't get kicked out? I mean,
oh no, I didn't. I tried.
Ron's such an asshole. He'll kick people out just for like looking at him wrong. You know, these guys came down from Wisconsin to see us play, and they were out, and like after the 10th or 12th song, he was like, "I'm tired of y'all. Get out." And what? What the hell? They drove 6 hours or something to come see us play.
Probably sitting in the parking lot just listening.
Yeah, I hope they did. So,
I had no idea about Rana from that angle. So
yeah, he's a hot, he's a hot mess.
It's almost like he's single-handedly keeping music alive in that little corner of Ohio.
Yeah, but so why do you want to kick people out? I don't get it.
It's fiefdom.
Yeah.
But Thunderbird was like, it was a highlight of the set, and it was almost like you do almost like a Soul Brother, like altar call intro to it.
Yeah, sometimes it goes on too long, but I love where it goes because I never know where it goes. I'll start off, us in the van and talking about, I need to get a drink, and let's pull in here to this little convenience store, and it's like, 2:00 in the morning, and I just go on and on and on and on about, trying to find some Thunderbird or something in the middle of the night while we're driving around, and but that's just one episode. I'm just kind of thinking about, what I say, but it changes from night to night. I never know where it's going to go.
I think that's what makes it really cool.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the edge of their seats. Like, where is this going?
I know. I'm on the edge of my seat because I got to figure out where it's going.
You're driving that bus.
Yeah, I'm driving it.
So since I've brought it up, how did that song come about?
David Enloe, I've already mentioned him. When we were in school, one night we bought 3 bottles of Thunderbird, and we drank them. And that was the worst hangover I've ever had in my life. It was the worst feeling ever. So I figured I'd better write a song about it because, and we were taking our fists and knocking holes in our walls and just stupid stuff. I mean, I ended up having to patch all the walls. And, I don't know, but yeah, that's where it came from.
Is that a song that you wrote back with David, or did you?
No.
Look,
I wrote it years later. I mean, it was probably right around the time the record came out. I probably wrote it around 2000 or something like that. But I was just thinking about that night and then thinking, God, what the hell? What was wrong with me? And it just started writing about, Thunderbird. So
it's nice that you could have something positive come out of something.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Rather negative, turning lemons into lemonade.
Yeah, it was like one of those things where Roddy Wood had a 2-week hangover. It wasn't 2 weeks, but it was like 3 days. That was a bad feeling, man. That's a real bad feeling.
All right. Well, at least we got some art out of it.
Yeah. You don't drink anymore, do you?
No, I quit back in 2014. So
awesome.
I stand back and I can laugh at the Thunderbird songs.
Right. Well, the first part of this year, the first 100 days, I didn't drink. So that's where all those songs came from. So
maybe there's something to that then.
Yeah. So maybe the first 100 days of next year, I'm going to write some more songs.
So do they come in bursts for you, or is it like
they do?
Okay.
And I've started noticing, somebody started saying something about full moon, writing songs around the full moon and how I'm starting to realize that I'm writing more songs around the full moon.
Wow.
That's when I get inspired. So
I think that worked for Warren Zevon, right?
I guess so. So maybe there's something to that.
Now, is it something that you are able to turn on and off?
Not really.
No?
No, I can't. I'm always thinking about a song, always, until I go to bed. And then sometimes I'll think of a title while I'm asleep. I mean, I wrote Battleship Chains in my sleep. And so there's stuff still going on while I'm sleeping, where I'm trying to figure it out.
And then what you wake up and you run for a pen or
Well, sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll jot down an idea in my phone. I'll put it in my phone. So, and then I'll look at it and I'll go, what the hell? What the hell am I thinking about? But yeah, there's that. Yeah.
And
always thinking about songs.
Grace, your wife, is used to this by now, or?
Yeah, she's used to it. Yeah. She's fine.
She's cool with it.
She's fine with it. She knows. I mean, she sleeps pretty hard, so she don't wake up. But
nice.
Mm-hmm.
So Battleship Chains you wrote in your sleep.
Yeah,
so
I dreamed about a band on stage playing this song, and that was the song they were playing.
Oh, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And I got up, and this was when Dan was in the band, The Woods. Before The Woods, it was the Woodpeckers for a year. And Dan was in the Woodpeckers. And so he would take a train or a bus up to North Carolina and from Atlanta. He was living in Atlanta then. And so he'd pick a bus up or a train. I think it was usually a train, but we'd pick him up and then we'd go play a couple of gigs, And this was down at the beach. We picked him up and went down to the beach and played. And that first night, we played a rocking show, and then I slept in my new van. I had a van that I had just gotten, and I was pretty inebriated, so I slept in the van. And while I was in the van sleeping, I wrote that song. So,
wow!
And we played it. We played it the next night, and everybody went bonkers. They loved it. So I said, "Well, there's a new song." So,
and just to clarify for the listener, what Terry mentions, Dan, he's talking about Dan Baird of the Georgia Satellites.
Yeah.
And I will confess that it was not "Keep Your Hands to Yourself" that made me a Georgia Satellites fan. It was Battleship Chains.
Wow.
Because "Keep Your Hands to Yourself" was big, and I didn't like that little minor third to major third riff. So I kind of wrote it off. And then I saw a clip on MTV of the Georgia Satellites doing Battleship Chains, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And it made me reconsider everything.
Right. Well, cool. Yeah.
So you're the reason.
Dan was pissed off that the record label was making them do that song. We had released it in Europe, and so since it had been released, anybody could do the song. So Dan says, "I'm not going to do it because I don't want to hurt Terry's feelings, and I don't want to take their big song away from them, talking about the Woods." But their label Elektra insisted that they play that song or they wouldn't get a deal. So they did it, and Rick sang it. Rick sang the whole song. So
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
And hopefully you got a little royalty.
Oh yeah, I still get royalties. I still get royalties because other people keep doing it, Volbeat, some band over in Europe, and they sold like 2 million records.
Nice.
On there. And it was like, what the hell? And I got last year I got a $9,000 check. Just like,
that's a nice little trip to the mailbox.
86. So anyway.
That puts the addition on the house.
Yeah, exactly. So, or pays the house off. So that's what I did with.
That works too.
Yeah.
So you started out as a drummer, and you've transferred over to writing on guitar. Do you write on any other instruments?
Yeah. I got this guy, Victor Roca, who's he's a lawyer. I think he lives in California, but he's a lawyer for the Indian Nation. And he does really cool stuff. But he sent me this that song's called Box Wine Row. And it's on the next record. You're gonna like it. It's one of my favorites. So, but anyway, he sent me this ukulele, and it plays. It's a high dollar ukulele. It's nice. So, I just been playing around with it and I wrote that song. I love that song.
Nice. And do you use weird tunings on the ukulele as well?
No, it's already in a weird tune, so I just I just made what I could out of it. So
Nice. Well, you had me at Box Wine.
Box Wine Row. Yeah. So and there's a place right down the street from me where it just looks like that's what's going on, like they're just sitting around drinking box wine, talking shit. And so that's kind of what I wrote about. So it was written about just a bunch of dudes hanging around a fire, and just talking shit and drinking box wine and, just having fun. But that's what it's about. So.
Nice. So you're, would you say you always have like an antenna up for like something odd?
Yeah, I would.
Not to be judgmental of the guys sitting around drinking box wine, but
Right.
you don't see that every day. Well, I mean, I don't.
Right. But I mean, I was thinking box wine would be cheaper than, Ripple or something, because you buy a box of box wine, it's like, what, $15, $17 or so. And it holds 4 bottles of wine in box wine. Me and my wife drink box wine all the time. So
It's a value.
yeah,
When you do the math per ounce.
exactly. So I just figured, they're sitting around drinking box wine because it's the cheapest thing. But we found a really good one, and I'm sorry that we did. So, but anyway.
I'm going to say this is the first time I've ever heard of a really good box wine.
There's a really good box wine, and I'm not going to tell anybody because they're always out at the store up the street from me and they've got all the other flavors that they sell, all the other box wines, but this one particular one is the one they sell the most of because it's good. It's really good. And it's like $14.5. So that, you can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. It's like $17. And you drink on it for like 2 or 3 days.
Yep. I remember when my wife and I, when we got married, we had to do like this religious retreat at this monastery where they had like retreat rooms and stuff. And that icebreaker Friday night, man, the monks served box wine. And I guess that set the tone for marriage.
That's it.
Yep. Hey, maybe I'll write a song about that.
There you go. That sounds like a good song. I mean, I don't know how you'd approach it. I mean, monastery and some, I don't know. Anyway.
Okay. Got some rhyme potential with monastery and area. I don't know. Well, there's 3 or 4 ways they could go.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you think of Chainsaw?
Chainsaw, I love it. It's a lot of fun. It's like, it's high energy. We're talking about this is the first single, and is Chainsaw Repair Shop the name of the record as well?
No, I think we're going to call it Knuckle Sandwich.
What is it?
Knuckle Sandwich.
Knuckle Sandwich.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. But Chainsaw Repair Shop, there's a Chainsaw Repair Shop like 3 miles up the road from here. And I've been in there and I was like, this place is wacky because it's just like a bunch of, there's a lot of rednecks around here and they're not very educated. So, but yeah, they're back there working on chainsaws and it was like, what if you live next door to that? And they were working on chainsaws night and day.
It's hard to believe there's a demand for like a.
Well, that's why I made it cheap. Like, I moved next to a chainsaw repair shop. I can't believe the rent was so cheap. And then those guys are working all night and day nonstop. Can't nobody get no sleep. So that's what that's about.
Yeah, I could picture the Rolling Stones covering that one.
I'd love it. What do you think of their new record?
I liked it, and then I was at first excited that it had the vibrancy and the feel.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of songs on it, and it kind of got old for me.
Yeah, I still listen to about 7 of those songs just about every day.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 7 songs that are like old Rolling Stones songs that I love.
Mm-hmm.
They fit right in with that bunch. So there's some that I don't listen to at all. You know, there's like 4 or 5 that I don't even listen to.
Yeah,
But I know
songs there. I mean, because I went for a walk and I was listening to it, and I like walked like 2 miles, and the record wasn't over yet.
Well, it's 40 minutes, 45 minutes or so. So
Yeah.
you walk 2 miles in 30 minutes, and that sounds about right.
All right. Maybe it was just the perception.
Yeah.
Did you hear the Beatles song, the new one?
Yeah. I wasn't knocked out by it. What did you think?
I have not heard it, and I gotta say I don't really want to,
Yeah.
because like the Beatles were so perfect. I don't need this.
Yeah. I think it would just fit on a B-side somewhere, So,
Mhm. I heard there's a good documentary on it on like HBO Max or something, but I don't.
yeah. But I love that Get Back thing, man.
Oh God.
That was
Yes.
awesome.
I could have watched 48 hours of that.
Yeah, me too. It was so great. So,
It's like, talk about how the sausage was made, and it's like, wow.
So what'd you think of Best Day Ever?
I love it. I love it. It's great. It's you have a real gift for making positive, upbeat, love songs that don't get overly sentimental or sappy. And I don't know how you do it, because it's a really hard line to toe. But you have a gift for that.
Yeah, well, I try to stay away from the sappy. Because that's one of the things that really annoys me.
Yeah.
The sappy annoys me.
Now, are you able to feel it maybe moving in a direction like that and avoid it, or
What do you
is it? It's just what comes out.
It's mostly just what comes out. But there's things where I'll think of an idea and I'll just say no, and I'll turn the wheel and go a different way, So.
All right.
Yeah.
So we got. Do you have you got a record coming out in a few weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to do vinyls for these 3 releases?
I think we're gonna do a CD or download for the first one, and then the next one we'll make a double LP. So
Okay.
we'll take the one from next month and the one from March and stick them together and make a double LP. So that's what my plan is.
Okay. And then later in the summer, you're talking about a 3rd release.
Yeah.
Are you still working on that, or?
Well, I'm always working on songs. I mean, and we've got 25 recorded. So, and I've got like 3 more that I want to record.
So do you have your own studio, or?
No, I go over to Jack's, my bass player.
Okay.
And he's got bukus of equipment. He records other people too. So, but
Are you guys self-producing that?
yeah, I mean, he's I just called him the producer because he takes over and says, let's do this. And I said, okay. So,
You trust him now.
yeah. And we've put shit tons of background vocals on everything. I mean, it's just full of background vocals. And it sounds pretty cool. So I hope you like it.
Yeah, I am looking forward to everything coming down the pike.
Yeah.
So
There's a couple I think you'll like. Magnificent. There's one called Magnificent. That's pretty good.
excellent.
So
Are you gonna take any of this on the road?
I don't know. We'll have to see.
It's hard to tour.
Yeah.
I mean, so many songwriters now have to go like solo acoustic because it's so hard to afford
Exactly.
bringing the band on the road.
Yeah, and getting the guys together to go play, you know, that's kind of hard. Because they all have their own, they've got, like, Dave has a monument business where he sells headstones, you know, for people dying, and people are dying all the time.
that
They wanna
business
quit
doesn't.
dying. If people would quit dying, I could go play on the road.
If only there were a health epidemic. Or
Exactly. That's what we need. There you go. Let's write that song.
right, waiting around for
Right.
people not to die.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Terry. I appreciate you talking with me, man. You're always so fun to talk to.
I miss hanging out with you. It was
Yeah,
it was fun.
It's been too long. We've gone gray.
Yeah. How long has it been since we
I haven't seen you in person since 2010. So,
was?
all right. Well, I will sign off here.
Mm.
I'll stop. We'll keep in touch. All right. Thank you,
Okay.
Terry.
Yeah, man. Thank you.